Let me call you right back.
Okay.
Sorry about that, y'all. That was my job. But I had a hard time understanding that. I would go to church when I was in Michigan, and I would sit in church, and I'd be like, okay, God, I'm ready to stop. And for some reason, I thought that he was going to put a hole in my head, and he was going to come in there and change me. And I didn't have to do anything. And when that didn't work, then I cursed him, and I ended up going back and doing what I was doing. But when I came down here, the understanding that I got from Pastor Williams, and the love that he showed me, even though I was a dirty rag, he never gave up on me. I'll never forget one time I was at home getting high. It was a Sunday, and I got a knock on the door. And I look, and it's Pastor. It's Pastor with my brother-in-law and a deacon and one of the men. I think it was Minister Sal that was there. And he came looking for me. He left 100 to come and get this one. And so my understanding of God kept growing. And so I went to him and I told him I think I'm ready to be a minister. And though I went through the ministering training classes and stuff, and it's just hard to believe. One of the most important thing that I do, I haven't done it since the COVID, is I go to the jails and I talk to the women, because I want to give them the same hope that he gave me.
Amen.
I want them to know, just because you made a mistake, you are not a mistake. If I can change, anybody can change. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it, because I always said I'm going to die like that.
Right.
I did not stop getting high because I didn't like it. I liked getting high, but it didn't like me. I lost many a car. I lost many places to stay. I lost a whole lot. And so I had to understand that I deserved better.
Right.
And I knew that I had to do something different than what I was doing in order to get something different than what I was getting. And so I became a minister February 21st of 2016, and my life is rolling. I mean, I describe my life like I was driving down a one-way street the wrong way with my lights out. Now I'm driving down a one-way street the right way, my lights are on, and I'm cruising. That's how I describe my life.
Awesome testimony. And God has transformed your life.
Transformed me.
And, I just love the fact that you shared this testimony, because there's somebody out there who is needing this testimony.
I hope so. And that's why I don't mind. I don't mind talking about me, because for one thing, I can't change what I've done.
Right.
I can't erase what I've done. Everything that I have done has made me who I am today.
Right.
So I have to embrace it.
Right.
I have to keep walking in it. As long as I don't do what I've done before, I'm going to be Jeanette.
Right.
Every day,
right.
I'm going to be Jeanette.
Right.
And I'm not going to ever stop being Jeanette. I'm just a better Jeanette.
Right. But, you just turned your pain into purpose, and you're willing to help other women.
Absolutely.
Because it may be a woman out there now just feeling sorry for herself. And she's listening to this, and you giving her hope that she can change. Okay. And it's just, God gets the glory for your story.
Absolutely.
And the way he has transformed you. And I appreciate you being so transparent. Now, dealing with all of this, the healing process, it took you a while to get through that healing process, through all this.
Oh, yes. It took me, I was angry at everybody, like it was everybody's fault.
Right.
I was angry with everybody that I came in contact with. I didn't know how to, and, I was real, I had, how can I put this? I had a hard time believing that I could change. I really couldn't. I didn't think that I could ever change. Because I never ever did anything different other than what I've always done.
Right.
So I never thought I could change. And so because I thought I couldn't change, I never did. And so the pain came when I had a matter of fact, I was in counseling with Pastor for a year, so that he could get me to understand, just because God don't just like me, he loves me. And he loves me because of who I was. And he can make me into who I am. And I had a hard time understanding that. And so working with Pastor every week, every Thursday, I went to counseling, and he is the one that gave me the strength to try something different and to trust God, to truly trust that even when I was getting high, even when I was getting drunk, even when I was doing everything I was doing, God was with me.
Yes.
He was with me. He was there. Because if he wasn't, I wouldn't be here today.
Amen.
Because I have been in situations where I'm supposed to be dead.
Yes, ma'am.
There's no doubt about it. I didn't care whose car I got in. My sister one time came down to the bar and took me home. And next thing I know, as soon as she left, I snuck out. And I come back and I done got cut. So, I mean, I could have been dead.
Right.
So I know that he was with me all those times that I was doing everything that I should not have been doing. But he was there protecting me.
Right. And God and Pastor Williams was the angel that God sent to help you.
Absolutely.
And that's why he didn't give up, because God put it on his heart to continue to help you and be there for you.
Right. He did that. He did that. He did not give up on me.
Now, what advice would you give a young lady or a young man that may be going through what you went through and they're trying to get their life right?
The first thing, I would think that the first thing that they really should do is get into counseling with somebody. Mm-hmm. Sharing, being honest about what it is that you've done. Don't lie about it. Right. Because lying about it ain't going to change it. Right. You got to be honest. You got to find somebody that you can trust. That because I know everything that I've shared with Pastor knows some things about me that don't nobody else know. And I know that he's going to die with that. Mm-hmm. I know I will never hear it from anybody else. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of person that you're going to have to trust, because I didn't trust people. You know, especially the people that I hung around, because as soon as you say something, they're out on the street talking about it.
Right.
So I had to learn to trust somebody with me.
Right.
And as soon as I learned to trust somebody with me, then I was able to be all right with me. Right. So that's the first thing that they should do is just find somebody that they can trust with their secrets, that they can trust, that is not going to tell anybody else anything about what they said. They need to trust somebody, and then let that person feed into them what they need to be fed into.
Right. But most important, they got to talk to God.
They absolutely got to be God in there.
Yes. Got to be.
You can't do it without him. Right. I couldn't do it without him. I didn't do it without him. Right. I kept doing the same thing. I was the kind of person, when you talk to me about God, I was like, okay, you say God created the heaven and the earth. Well, where was he at when he created it? I mean, I would come up with those kind of questions, but I was serious.
Right.
I was so serious. As far as I was concerned, God had to make sense to me.
Right.
You know, everything had to make sense, and he didn't make no sense to me. Mm-hmm. How you telling me he can do such and such and such, but I can't see him? I can talk to him, but I don't know if I'm talking to him or not. I mean, that was my thinking back then. But then once I got into understanding who God was and what he could do and what he could, and read my Bible, oh my God, and understand, I love Romans 8:28. You know, everything that I have done has worked for the good. Mm-hmm. You know, it has turned around to be good for me. So, you know, just get into the scripture and again, find somebody that you can trust, that you can really just give your heart to, and know that they're going to take care of you.
Yeah, that's what you have to pray for, that discernment, and ask God to give you the wisdom to find that person, because it's very hard to find people that you can trust and talk to.
It is.
Now. It really is. Now, how long have you been clean now?
I've been clean since May, I think it was May 25th. I had been getting high, of 2010. 2010. Mm-hmm. I had been getting high, and I went to work, and I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk. I couldn't do nothing. One of my coworkers took me to the hospital, and I was on a gurney, and they had me with an IV, but they couldn't give me any medicine because they didn't know what was wrong with me. And when I tried to talk, I couldn't put one word next to the next word to make it make a sentence. And so my baby sister was there, and Pastor ended up being there because he was there to see somebody else. And so that day, that specific day, God walked, he was in my ear, and he said, Jeanette, if you keep doing what you're doing, this is how you're going to end up. You're going to be up in somebody's hospital, not being able to talk, being cold and being hot. And I heard him. When I heard him, That was on a Friday. That Sunday, I was in church in the choir singing. Like, it wasn't nothing wrong. All I had to do was hearing. I had never been really hearing.
And he gave you chance after chance after chance.
Yeah.
And that was that last
That was
one.
the last one. He told me, you keep it up. This is how you're going to be. And not only did I hear him, but I believed him.
Right.
And I got up off of that gurney and went home and went to church Sunday and was up in the choir singing. Like nothing was. And I promise you, I couldn't talk. I was cold. I was hot. It was awful. But yeah, that was my day.
Yeah. Wow. Powerful testimony. Is there anything else you would like to, share as far as advice? As a matter of fact, I have another question for you.
Okay.
Now, you said you've been ministering since 2016, and you have been reaching out to other women and helping them throughout that, during your time of, rehabilitating through all of this. Do you ever keep in contact with any of those ladies and see how they're doing now?
Well, I couldn't give them my information in the jail. That was against the rules. But I would always tell them where Greater Mount Zion was, because I was at Russell County Jail, which is right around the corner from Greater Mount Zion. And I would always tell them, now, you got to come to church. Come and see me at 8 o'clock or at 11 o'clock. And a couple of them have come, but a lot of them haven't. And then I used to go into the Muskogee County Jail. But I haven't been in there in a while. But every Sunday, every first Sunday, every third Sunday, I was always at the Russell County Jail. And then I had a little team. Nobody had a background like mine, but it was a person that was a counselor, somebody whose brother was in prison. So they had some things to give to them. And I would always let the women know, if I got 4 felonies and I work for the city, come on, you can't tell me what God can't do.
Right.
There's no stopping him.
Right. Now, do you know where there are some jobs where they can get a job if they have felonies on their record?
Yes, they can get a job with the city in Parks and Recreation.
Okay, city and Parks and Recs. Okay, that's
and
good.
then they got, I just read an article with the water company that they have what's called a second chance program, where they're hiring people that's re-entering back into the program, back into the city that's coming from jail.
Right.
So I'm on the mayor's commission for re-entry, which means that I'm working with, it's about maybe 14 of us that are working with people who are coming out of prison or coming out of jail and helping them get apartments, because there's a lot of places people don't want to give them an apartment because they're a felon. But we're working and trying to make things happen for folks. Because one of the things that helped me was that when I went to prison, I learned computers in prison. That's where I learned how to mess with the computers. And matter of fact, I was so good that I was the teacher's assistant. I was making 50 cents a day, honey.
Oh, wow.
So I thought I was big stuff. But so I did have a skill when I came out. And so I did go on Rutledge prison website, and I think that they're doing some things like fixing cars and all kind of working in restaurants. They're giving them some skills. That's the first thing that they're going to have. They're going to have some kind of skill in order to make it into this society. They just don't have to have some skill. So I try to convince them, especially the women that's in jail, if you go to prison and learn something. Come out knowing more than what you knew before you went in there. And I'm not talking about bad stuff. I'm talking about something that can change your life so that you don't have to come back here.
Right. Because through every setback and obstacle, which should be a lesson learned.
Absolutely.
And not go back and,
if you're ready to learn the lesson.
Yeah,
you got to be ready.
Got to be ready. Got to be ready. Well, I thank you so much for sharing your testimony. Is there any way you want to tell anybody how to follow you if they need to get in contact with you as far as like any information for you to help them?
Well, I have a Facebook page. It's Jeanette James. And then I have Instagram page. And it's Jazzy at 71.
And then also tell them about our church, how they can see us on live.
Every Sunday, we are live at Greater Mount Zion Baptist Church, Facebook Live. Go to Greater Mount Zion Baptist Church family. And